Hey, what's up, guys? This is Bodie.
This is Shanae.
Hey, this is Jamie McDonald.
What's up? I'm Laverdier.
What's up, y'all? This is Seph Schlueter, and you are tuned in to Kingdom Builder.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kingdom Builder. I'm your host, Kelly Meade, and I'm so happy to be joined by Seph Schlueter to talk about his brand new album, Counting My Blessings, available everywhere July 11th. Seph, how are you today?
Man, I'm so excited. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, so glad to have you on the show. I've been loving listening to the pre-release we got of the album, and there's so many great songs on here. It's been so awesome seeing how God has used like Counting My Blessings, Stay, Running Back to You, and so many others that you've released the past couple of years. It's almost crazy to think like that time frame is so small to see where he's like allowed your music to reach in that amount of time. And it's just really cool to see. So what has it been like for you to see the impact that these songs have been making already?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's so humbling. I'm like, it is crazy to think. I feel like I'm still a baby. I feel like I'm still like a baby artist. And I am in so many ways, right? But I think just like seeing the Lord do, what he's done with these songs has just been so inspiring and just so humbling because it feels so out of our control, in the sense of like you put a song out, you write it, but you have no idea. You really can't control how people are gonna react to it or respond to it. And so it feels like you just kind of throw it in God's hands and you're like, Lord, whatever you want to do with this, do with it. And so just to see, the ways that he has, moved people and brought people deeper into him has just been so crazy to experience and just kind of makes me be like, all right, Lord, like, this is crazy. And like, what else? Like, what's next? Like, what else? Like, whatever you say, Lord, I want to do it, whether that's more of this, whether it's something else, whatever it might be, God, like, I just want to follow you. So I think it's just humbling to see, everything that he's done with it.
Yeah, definitely. And so now with the full length album coming along with Counting My Blessings, one of my favorites on the album is Won't Start Now. And I know you also just released the music video for that recently,
Yeah.
which is really cool to see. That song has such a good message to remind us of God's nearness and his faithfulness to us through everything. So can you share a little about how that song started for you?
Yeah. I mean, it was with some friends just writing together and, just talking about the idea of his faithfulness and how like, there's just like things that he's never done and he's not going to do. I love in Hebrews where, Paul says, yeah, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so that means the same God that I read about in the scriptures, the same God who, was with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noah, David, like all these characters, and was just so faithful to them. The same God who healed and saved and delivered, like all throughout the New Testament, like he's the same. And like, he's like, that's the same God that we can rely on. And so if he was never, if he never abandoned his people back then, he's not going to start now. If he never, like let them walk alone, like he's not going to start now. Like, and I think it's just coming from that idea was really what inspired the song and kind of brought it to where it's at.
Yeah, for sure. That's so cool to think about, like you're saying, how he is the same, and it's the same God that we can read
Yeah.
about all throughout the history of the Bible with all these different, everyone that has been through. We read about all the things David went through and just all the
Right.
different trials that these people were brought through. And it's just so awesome to see that it still is so present today.
Yeah. Amen.
And it seems like the faithfulness of God is a recurring theme throughout a lot of your music. And I think that's awesome. Love to hear that. And especially with life taking us on such a wild journey sometimes with its ups and downs. So,
Yeah.
what is one of the biggest lessons that you have learned about God's faithfulness in your life?
Man, I feel like there's so many, so many. Um, I think one of the big things about the Lord's faithfulness is it doesn't always look like what we expect. I think we have an idea in our minds of what faithfulness can look like and what it should look like. I'm like, all right, God, if you're faithful, it means that you're gonna do this. And that's just not always the way it goes. And I think that's one of the things I've learned is that his faithfulness looks different than what I'd expect. Sometimes it looks the same, but other times it looks different. And I think that's part of the mystery of the faith. And it's beautiful and it's hard sometimes, but it's like every time the Lord teaches us something, every time he does something, expected or unexpected, it's always an invitation to learn something new about his heart and his priorities, you know? And so that's what I think is cool about his faithfulness is it's something I feel like I'm always learning more about, you know? Just to see like, all right, you know, what is you I know you're faithful, but this is how you moved in this situation and it was different than I expected. So what are you teaching me about yourself based on the way that you moved here? And I think like that's just something that's cool is constant because we're here on this earth to learn more about the Lord, right? We're to grow in our fellowship with him. And so it's like those are all opportunities to do that, to just grow and learn with him and be able to better represent him then to the world.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also like to really be able to lean in on like his timing, knowing that it's, you know, so much better than ours. Even like you're
Yeah.
saying how we can expect things to go a certain way. And when they don't, we might get frustrated and a little bit, you know, we could get angry sometimes too. But then when we can take the time to stop and learn from it and just remember that his plans are higher and his
Yeah.
timing is just, he knows exactly what we need when we need it and he'll be faithful to provide.
Amen.
So, thinking about each of the tracks on this album is and all the time that you've put into this project, because I know it's been in the works for a while. So, do you have a song that's maybe come to mean a little bit more to you throughout the process?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Won't Start Now is one of them that stands out because it was funny. I wrote it a while ago and then I kind of forgotten about it honestly for a little bit. And then like it came back up again when we were talking about albums and singles and stuff like that. And it's just funny how a song that speaks to you in one season, it says something entirely different in another. And it was like a song that was hard to hear in the season I was in because I'm like, man, it's like all about how he's never let us down, but I kind of feel let down by God right now, you know, and but it's like exactly what I needed, and it was like that reminder of no, like he hasn't actually let you down. He's never done that. He's not going to start now again, even though it looks a little different than what you would expect. So I feel like that's one that's kind of evolved in my understanding of it, where it's like, man, I feel like the way I sing it now is so different than when I sang it, you know, for the first time. You know, I think that one's super real in that sense, and then I think there's another song called "This Side of Heaven" on there. That's also one that, you know, when I wrote it, it meant one thing, and then, you know, releasing it means a totally different thing. You know, having gone through my own experiences of you know, pain or heartbreak or whatever it might be, it's like, oh, like this song hits in a different way because of that. And so it's just cool how music, like that's the gift of music. You know, not only can it speak to you from like totally different thing from one season to the next, but you and I could listen to the exact same song and both have a totally different response to it or a totally different way it speaks to us. And you're like, it means this to me and it means this to me. And like, I think that's just the beauty of the music and why I feel like the Lord loves to use it so much, as it is so close to just it's so close to the Lord's heart.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned a lot how it's such a universal language music is that it can just reach our hearts and reach into, you know, our minds and because it really stays with us. At least for me. I know my brain's like wired for music and lyrics
Yeah.
and stuff, but it's so much easier to like remember things. Like even if I'm trying to memorize a verse or something and from the Bible, like if it's something that I can relate a song to or I can
Yeah,
set it to
totally.
music, it's like, oh yeah, there it is.
Yep, exactly.
So, as people get to hear Counting My Blessings album more and more, what are some things you hope they will take away and to apply to their lives?
Yeah. I feel like one of the biggest things is like to me the album as a whole is an invitation. It's like an invitation to just go a step deeper. Like, you know, if you've wandered from the Lord, like it's an invitation to come back to him and just know like, hey, there's so much love and mercy for you. Or like if you've, you know, kind of been in a relationship with the Lord for like a number of years, but it's kind of grown stagnant. It's an invitation to like, hey, he's still always calling you back. Like there's still more that he has. And if you've been following the Lord closely for your whole life, it's like, you know, it's like, hey, it's an invitation to take a step deeper, whatever that looks like. So I feel like I hope people just take away from it that like, one, we have a God that just loves us so radically and has so much in store for us. Two, that like there's nothing we could ever do to change that love. And three, we actually get to now be the representation of that love to the world. And I feel like that's just like a huge invitation that I hope the album brings to people.
I love that. That's awesome. So you're going to be out on the road a lot this summer and into the fall. You got some festivals that you're hitting this year, including Kingdom Bound up here in New York on July 29th. Can't wait to see you there. Really excited. Then you also announced the Counting My Blessings tour coming up this fall with Bodie. What are some things that you're looking forward to about all of those shows?
I feel like playing shows is honestly might be my favorite thing about the whole everything about what I do, because there's something just special about like getting to meet the people who listen to and have been impacted by the music, and I'll get messages all the time and it's so sweet, but it's different when you get to like look someone in the eyes and they get to tell you, this is what this song did for me and this is how the Lord used it. And also just getting to worship together with the church. I feel like God just does so much in those times of worship. Like it was so cool on tour, this past spring, and just, the stories of people who were impacted by it or just had a connection with the Lord as a result of it was just so cool. And so I think anytime I get to worship with people in person and at these shows or festivals or whatever it might be, it's just so special because you just never know how the Lord's going to show up and never know what he's going to do. And I think that just keeps it so exciting, each and every time.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Can't wait to hear more about those as they come along. And I want to encourage everyone to visit SephSchlueter.com, check out those tour dates, and also follow Seph on social media because he posts a lot of encouraging stuff for Christians of all ages, not just the music and some fun clips, but he's got a lot of good stuff on there. So I will link all of those in the description below this video. Also, check out the Counting My Blessings album, available everywhere July 11th. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Been a blast.